anybody who's ever been audited for anything knows how data is your friend. And the better job you have of keeping data and keeping it in the right place. Can you talk a little bit about what you do for data in terms of, you've got a rental business, you've got an integration business, you have accounting, you have management dashboards. Just give us just a 60,000 foot view of data in your world.
Well, Tom, as you know, we have way too much data in our business. We have
There's never too much data.
That's my point of view. But distilling it into something that I can make a decision with is the difficult step. You know, I mean, we have a sophisticated integration of our rental software and how we use it. We've added D tools in our systems integration division that feeds into the R2 system, that feeds into Salesforce, that feeds into our accounting program. And you know, it's all, there's tons and tons of data there. And we have a separate time card program that works on the outside of all of this and will track the hours on projects that feeds into the accounting system that spits out a project cost analysis at the end with a lot of massaging, so that you can tell in hindsight whether you did any good on a job or not. It's just a matter of managing it to tell it something, tell you something that you can make a decision on. I can't go out to every job. I can't get a feel for exactly what's happening everywhere. So I have to focus on numbers and the flow through the system. And my IT guy and myself are constantly, you know, coming up with a new report or belting something out. We use Salesforce extensively, and that has, we have 4 mailers a day that go out of that with statistics to the sales team, management team, and other people, just to see where we stand. At noon, we get a dashboard that tells us where our sales for the month, year, and quarter are, what's expected of the next one, so everybody can kind of see what they're doing. We have a stage changes report that goes out at 7 o'clock every evening that we get that shows every record that changed a status, whether it be quoted, lost, won, invoiced, whatever. And that report's usually a page long of stuff, and you can see everything that changed that day. And usually it creates some kind of panic from me or someone not involved, like, what do you mean we lost this job?
So I mean, there's a lot of people who are listening to you right now going, really? How do you have time? What do you do with all that information? Give me an example of something a daily report would tell you that will cause you to make a change or do something in your business besides go, why did we lose this job? Because you knew if you lost an important job, you would have heard about it anyway. You don't need the report, right?
Not necessarily. People don't want you to know everything, you know, especially when they lose a job. You know, and for me, that's immediate. I can go do some triage, or, you know, another report we also get is past due invoices, and that's an internal past due. So we have an invoice a day that a project is over with and ready to be invoiced. And when it's not invoiced, you show up on the report that night if you're the owner of that job, and the manager can go in and say, listen, we finished that job a week ago. You're showing up on the report every day. Get this thing through invoicing. Get it done so we can collect on this job.
Okay. So now we're all going, oh yeah, but you're a huge company.
No.
No. How many employees?
85.
Okay. Could you have used this and done this when you had 20 employees? If the technology existed. I realized that was back when you were driving a Flintstone car.
Yeah, I actually thought earlier, I said, I remember doing a proposal on a typewriter. So so I've been at this a little while, but it would have helped a lot back then, because that past due invoices report comes out of my 1980s fears that we forgot to invoice somebody for a project. And I think we all did it. When we were working off of a calendar on the wall and a yellow legal pad in front of us, that you missed things. And sometimes you even forgot to invoice customers for a big job you did. Of course,
I can see that happening.
you know, and so that's my my old school fear is why we have that one report in place.
So Mark, what's data in your world? If you're doing thousands of projects around the country,
You utilization guy.
you got to be smoking Rusty, right?
No, I'm trying to think. We use a product called NetSuite that I was kind of against using the way we use it, and it's a software as a service kind of product that actually everything resides on: our inventory management, our accounting, our work orders, our sales and invoicing, our forecasting. And I just never believed like something like that could work, like an enterprise kind of product, and it largely has for us. You're talking about at the beginning, data can be used for compliance and for reporting. I think we do an excellent job actually for compliance. We've done a great job at these multiple state audits we've had, except for Texas, because they
realize
pull off
you're
all
in
of those.
Texas right now.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Is there?
Yeah.
We'll see if you're free to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you have your passport.
Like Rusty said, I have a lot of reports, and I have I have a dashboard report I look at, and I don't think I don't have enough people or I don't have the time or resources or energy, or I'm not prioritizing enough to use this data properly to drive business decisions. I would say that's certainly that's a gap. We've got a lot of data. I feel limited in my ability sometimes to use it in real meaningful ways, except to just kind of look at, is the business going the way that we expect it to go? But when there's variance and trying to figure out what's going wrong and trying to dig a little deeper, sometimes that becomes tricky.
Well, it's interesting because you both described enterprise solutions for data, and you're doing it under one collection of products in the NetSuite. You've got several products that are talking to each other. I often hear that people can't make enterprise software work.
I never believed that we could get this thing to work.
Okay. So why did it work? Why were you wrong?
Because we dedicated a ton of resources into making it work. We had we got an outside, NetSuite and like Salesforce. I mean, they could be plug and play things. They kind of, you could just download it and use it yourself. We got a implementation consultant who helped it. We have a system administrator who's all they do is administer this product. Each individual functional team has a power user that can train people and inside of their own groups and then advocate to the system administrator what changes they need.
Let's write that one down.
Power
Team
Yeah.
power users. Okay.
So it's just been, and it was we were real deliberate about implementing it. We made sure salespeople were bought into it, and actually all the groups are. So I sold software before I did. I did it's enterprise software before I did what I'm doing now, and we always sold the promise of all these silos of data.
You were that guy.
Yeah, forget all that. We have this. We actually had a PowerPoint. Here's all your silos. Here's us, and it shows one big silo. Everything talking to each other and stuff. So I knew that was 90% of the time that doesn't work. That way. But I just sold a perpetual license. And I just let somebody guys figure it out. But now, we've it's way exceeded my expectations. Yeah.
You have a different perspective, I suspect.
I do. I mean, I found that too much data can be debilitating, and it's you have to focus on what's important. And in our world, all right, we do a daily report that I get when I wake up in the morning. It's run overnight that basically tells us what's changed on the job log. What new jobs were entered, status has changed on other jobs, significant change in a estimate from, if a job changes, a client wanted changes, and it changes a little bit, I don't get notice. If it changes a lot, I get notice. I mean, basically data that's important. number one. There's also equipment logs that get sent out every day that basically what's broken, what status has changed on any equipment. Monthly or so, I'll get a accounts payable and accounts receivables aging. You can dig, you can have too much data. What's important. I can go into the job log at any time and get a month by month of, what we billed for history, for a certain month versus previous years, and what's estimated for future months. And through that and through the knowledge of what we've done over previous years, I know that if we're estimating X for January, by the time we get to February 1st, we'll be at X plus 35% because of how things will come in. And that allows me to sort of make the hiring decisions, the purchasing decisions, and so on.
Well, once again, I'm very impressed with what these CEOs can teach us. Two basic points here. One is that capturing data is easier than ever. We have a lot fewer excuses for why we can't know something. But clearly, using it effectively is still a challenge, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So there's no doubt we have a lot of data. Being analytical takes a fair amount of commitment because there's so much data, it's difficult to know what to do with it. And in this panel, we hear examples of two different types of companies that have made enterprise software work for them. And then we've heard one example of somebody who's limited the amount of data that he actually looks at. And they're all right in their own way, and I think we can learn from all of that. Now, if you're going to do the software route, then clearly commitment to training, power users, implementation teams, all seem to be extremely critical in the process. Even data-phobic Murray, who chides me for my love of data, gets a daily report, and he gets a fairly detailed daily report. But he makes a great point. Data that's important is enough. Too much data is a distraction. Now, having said that, you can't collect too much data, right? You can only analyze too much data. So data hoarder Rusty has a different approach. He's all over the reports. He gets a lot of reports. I've seen them. It's daunting even to me. But he's figured out what they mean to him, and they tell him something very quickly. So while it takes a little while to get used to reports, once you've defined them, they're your tool, and you'll learn how to use them much better. Now, Mark, the third leg of our stool here, Mark used to sell enterprise software for a living, but he's still absolutely amazed when the application of enterprise software in his company really works. I don't know which is the bigger story here, that his NetSuite system is working for him, or that he used to sell software and now he's in our industry. What's important to me is that Mark has power users and implementation teams, and they're telling his company what to do with the data and how to use it, and they're training across the enterprise. They're making it a more powerful tool. And as we've learned in some of the other videos, Mark's company is a Gen Y company. He's the oldest guy there, and he's not that old. These are young folks that understand software, understand how to use it, how to learn from it, and how to teach software. Okay? This is our future. This is what we need to understand as well. Now, the other distinction I want to make, and we didn't talk about it too much in the video, but I think it's very salient in the discussion of data. There's a big difference between your financial data and your business data. And most of the companies I deal with, their financial data is all the data that they really have. It's what they capture in their accounting system. A P&L doesn't tell us the whole story. Your accountant or your CPA has a primary responsibility, and that is to keep you out of jail. It's as simple as that. They're about tax compliance. They need to understand the tax code. They need to collect data in such a way that you can report your taxes accurately. So most financial books are set up for taxes first and analysis second. And I think a large part of my time as a consultant is spent unwrapping financial reports and recasting them in business terms so that we can have discussions about how to use the data to run our businesses better, how to make decisions, how to move forward. An on-the-spot financial report should give you an accurate picture of the health and the trajectory of the company, but it won't tell us what our next tactical move should be. So the second kind of data is operational. This is the data that we need to make decisions on a daily basis. It tells us how much of which products and services were sold, what was the cost of those items, what's our utilization record, which of these figures are trending. This is information I need to make decisions. Are we getting better or worse over time in a particular area? Now, the standard practice is to use KPIs, key performance indicators, and I've certainly done videos and papers on that in the past, and that resource is available to you. For instance, I might need to know how much a particular product is being used and do I need to buy more of it. But I can't look at that data in and of itself. I have to compare that to the other places that I can actually use my capital. Do I not buy new video projectors or do I need to buy screens? And I need data to do that analysis. So this kind of data on product utilization is far too granular to put into your accounting system, which is why we use things like rental management systems and other point of sale systems and systems integration so that we have handy data to use in operational decisions. So what are the takeaways from all of this? Okay, this was a great group of guys. I think we had 3 really good perspectives on the importance of data, and all 3 of them are right. We need to understand what each of them is saying and embrace a little bit of each of that. So what are the next steps for you? Well, first of all, you need to separate your financial analysis from your operational analysis. They're 2 separate things. The data may come from 2 different places, and you need to learn how to use that better. You need to learn, and this is very important for everybody in business, you need to learn how to quantify your opinions and your instincts. I see too many companies that are still running from a gut instinct, an idea, or a feeling about what the next best decision is. And I can't tell you how many large venue video projectors have been sold to rental companies over the years based on gut feelings when the math said don't do it. And the third, and I want to thank Murray for this, focus on data that's important. Capture all the data that you can, but you can change metrics. If you have the metric, you can work on it, you can improve it. So we have a lot of resources available to help you through these processes. I've spoken, written, and done videos on all of these topics in the past, and I hope you'll take advantage of that. And I hope you'll continue to watch these videos and get a lot out of it and share them with your team.